Hey, it's Benjie Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of the syndicated talk show, People of Distinction. The talk that gives you an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, alcoleenterprises.com for more info. Email me at benji@alcoleenterprises.com if you'd like to get involved with what we have going. And as always, please continue to like and follow our broadcast because People of Distinction is a nationally and internationally syndicated show because of listeners like you. Our shows are available across all major podcast distributors as well as YouTube. And if you keep following, we're going to continue to put out the content. We appreciate the support. Continue to like and follow and sit back and strap in because on the line with us today, we have the impressive Vincent J. Tomeo. Now, we're going to be discussing Vincent's amazing poetry book, The Usefulness of Hippopotamus, a humorous chapbook for trying times. Now, for those of you that have been following us for quite some time, you know the name, all right? You remember Vincent when he was with us previously. Well, listen, man, his book was so incredible. We were receiving such favorable reviews. It was a no-brainer. We had to invite Vincent back on here with us because we had such a great time. All right, and I know you all loved it as well. Well, in addition to this amazing book, Vincent has written another one. You're also going to want to check out. That one is called My Cemetery Friends, a garden of encounters at Mount St. Mary in Queens, New York. Both of which are available for purchase through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and a whole host of other places. But while you're at it, check out his personal site, vincentjtomeo.com. There, you're going to gather more information on him, more information on his books, but you're also going to find a blog that you're going to be able to participate in as well. One more time, that's vincentjtomeo.com. And I quickly want to point out the fact that Vincent was brought to our network, People of Distinction, today by one of the best publishing firms in the business. And of course, you already know I'm talking about Author Reputation Press. So if you're a writer out there who has gone through their process and now you need help moving the book you just developed, well, contact ARP because this is exactly what they specialize in. Now you're going to want to head on over to authorreputationpress.com and gather all the ways that their fantastic team is going to help you do just that. And listen, it is a true pleasure to have Vincent here on the line. I'm telling you, man, it is a great pleasure to have him back here with us. But once we start to really talk about his book, once you head on over and you purchase your copies, you're going to understand how beneficial this book is. People, trust me when I tell you, it is much more than just a catchy title. Now, first and foremost, it absolutely is that, right? The Usefulness of Hippopotamus. Man, I just love to say it. I mean, you don't even have to go any further than that, although you should. But just saying that title, it's so catchy. It rolls off the tongue. It is something that makes you smile just by saying it. Well, the poetry found inside is going to be just as humorous. It's meant to help you through some of your tough times. And let's call a spade, man. Life is filled with trying times, like it says there in the subtitle. This is a book that is wonderfully suited and applicable for today, for tomorrow, and for a lot of other occasions. You know where to go to pick up your copy. Sit back, strap in, and let's invite him here with us. Vincent, first and foremost, welcome back to People of Distinction, and thank you very much for being a guest. How you doing today, man?
Well, thank you. I woke up.
That's every day above ground, Vince. Every day above ground.
We'll start from there, right? So, yes, very happy and cheerful, and because I think positive. Yeah. And humor is a good form of medicine, and that's what my book is about. It's how to face a challenge and deal with it and overcome it, because we all have challenges. Mm-hmm. But it's how we face those challenges that makes all the difference. And I found, for me, humor works. I remember when I was in my treatment for cancer, the treatment's worse than the disease. So Nurse Poe said to me, "Mr. Tomeo, you're a poet. Why don't you spout one of your poems and it'll help you get through the treatment. And she was right. I did. I screamed one of my poems, and before I knew it, the treatment was over. So it worked for me, and I hope it will work for other people. We all have trying times, and sometimes we need to step back and have some good cheers and joy and laughter. The world is a better place where there's more laughter and kindness, and that's what I hope my book will do. Those who walk with me through the pages.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, Vincent, you said a mouthful there, man, and something that I think is so important. It speaks volumes. Humor being viewed as medicine. And I think that is, that's layered. And that can be a philosophical statement and conversation that we have. I remember when I was very young, the very first girl that I ever dated, I remember she was the type of person, and when she told me, I was so shocked by this, but she was the type of person that would laugh at funerals. And I remember being in high school, and the first time she told me that, I looked at her like she had 10 heads. All right, I'll admit it. And I was like, wait, what do you mean? There is nothing more sad, nothing more depressing than being at a funeral. Why would you dare laugh? And it wasn't until we had further conversations and we went much deeper into the psychology behind it, and really how that, first and foremost, was just how she chose to, manifest her emotions and express her emotions in that particular moment. And I started to realize it's not that she's laughing at the person or the individual that had passed. It's not like she's laughing at the individuals as they are grieving about the passing. It's just a way of lifting her spirits.
We all grieve differently, and I have a pre-need funeral all set up, but my funeral is going to be a poetry reading. And if you can't write a poem, you could read a poem. And then they're going to have champagne, whipped cream, and strawberries and whipped cream. But it's going to be a celebration of life, and not so much about the other world.
Right.
Which I'm not ready to go because I just love life. But anyway, death is part of life. I mean,
right.
You can't. It's like the sun. You can't look at it and you can't look away from it. We all have to face it, and it's how we face it. Like everything else, makes all the difference. And time kind of lessens. You never get over a certain loss, but like a hole in a cloud. But eventually, it's the burden is less. Time does have a way of healing.
Right. My question that I want to go into, Vincent, because I think it's something worth exploring. Well, in moments like that, right, where, again, whether it's someone grieving, whether it's someone processing, a loss of a relationship and just being hurt, whatever the case is, whatever the situation is, how do you ensure the humor uplifts and homing it into your poems? And I know your poems are personal to you, but of course they're going to be utilized as a benefit to those. So while you were writing these poems, how did you ensure that the humor in your poems uplifted its readers rather than minimizing the struggles that people were then going through?
Well, I take everyday objects and make them come alive and make them relatable for people. Poetry's feeling, and I'm never obtuse because I want the people to feel the poem and to relate to the poem, and not have to really decipher what, do I have to get the poetry explicator and, line by line? No, you don't have to do that. You have to feel it. You have to, feel it in your mind's heart, eyes. And I think that for me, my poem, my book, my Usefulness of Hippopotamus should be in every hospital recovery room or waiting room, so that people could pick it up and laugh, and while they're waiting, to see a patient, and even the patients themselves could read it and laugh, and because laughter really does help and is necessary. It's like food. So, yes.
I agree with that. Vincent, connecting off of that, and I think we've already started to go into this, but I think it's such an important point where if there's overlap, I think it's worth double downing and repeating. But what would you say to someone who feels as if they've lost their sense of humor due to the weight of the struggles that they've faced?
I would say try to... that's a very good question. For me, I remember when my brother died, I went to the ocean and I screamed.
Yeah.
And then I went in and I went swimming. I came out, I was kind of refreshed. I was able then to confront my loss. I mean, it was hard, but... so I would say each person's different. Mm-hmm. But I would say if you find life overwhelming, try to surround yourself with people that are going to be positive thinking. Don't let negative people rent space in your head. Don't let people get you nervous or put you down. Be around people that are going to make you feel good. Be around people that have your best interest at heart. And if they don't, socially distance yourself, because a friend should make your life better.
I love that.
That's my definition of a friend.
People, I'm telling you, this is something you need to add to your shelf. Once again, it's called The Usefulness of Hippopotamus, a humorous chapbook for trying times by Vincent J. Tomeo. It's Amazon, it's Barnes & Noble, it's a lot of other places, but make sure to gather everything that he has in store and get involved with the blog that he has going. Check out vincentjtomeo.com. This is something you want to get involved with, and this is something that is going to be so beneficial to every single person it encounters. Vincent, without further ado, man, I've held off long enough, and I know my listening audience, they're listening right now, and they're like, Benji, this is a book of poetry. I want to hear some of the poems, man. Come on, let me laugh. Let me smile. Let me get into something. Well, Vincent, without further ado, let's not keep them waiting any longer, man. If you have a poem ready to share.
Well, I think everyone can relate to this. Charging a cell phone. My son visited me in the hospital. The whole time he was on his cell phone. I was on life support, struggling to breathe, survive. His phone was losing its charge. So he pulled the plug to charge his cell phone. Tomorrow, there will be a virtual funeral. That's a little on the dark side.
That's a dark one, man. Well, listen, I'm right there with you. I love dark humor. Before we move on to the next, we're not just going to skip over this, Vincent. I love it, man.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm a relish in it. I want to know, talk to us about, what inspired that poem, what it means to you, and, really the connection that you have to it.
Well, the phone, the iPhone, cell phone, is a blessing and a curse. 10 years ago, it wasn't necessary. All of a sudden, it's become an intricate part of everyone's life, so much so that they can't live without their phones.
Yeah.
And to me, sometimes that's ridiculous. When I do my walk, I don't bring my phone with me. When I get home, get calls. Why didn't you take your phone? Where were you? Blah, blah, blah. What difference does it make? I'll get listen. Cool, chill. It's no big deal. But it's become, a blessing and a curse. That's all I could say, because we can't live without it, and we can't live with it. Like I guess some relationships we were in way back when. So that's what it is. It's a relationship.
Love that. I love it, man. Listen, I'm right there with you. Like, first and foremost, I thought the poem was remarkably powerful in terms of the message behind it. not only just the dark humor, which I love. Like I said, my wife and I, we love dark humor, man. The darker, the better. Now, I want to clarify, Stay, because I think, as a society now, we've gotten pretty sensitive. What I love about dark humor is we're not just laughing at someone else's pain, right? Like, that's not where the humor lies. It has to be a wonderfully crafted joke and really have a great punchline, like a good setup, a good punchline. Man, I could laugh about some of the darkest things because I'm not laughing at the situation itself. It's the joke and how creative.
It has to be universal. You're right. It has to be universal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm there with you. But then also, again, the message behind that, it's a scary time that we're living in, Vince, because you're right, man. People are attached to these devices. And I tell you, I struggle with it sometimes myself, where I wake up and I have to remind myself, like, Benji, don't touch the phone for an hour, right? Like, leave it there for a bit and get acclimated to the day itself, right? Before you go right to the device. Because I get it, man. There are times I'll wake up and that's the first thing I want to do is roll over, check my phone, and see things that I've missed out on, or start checking social media. And it becomes a dangerous habit. It's a slippery slope.
It's a hook,
Mm-hmm.
It's a hook because it's also a camera, the watch, it's a compass, it's many things.
Yeah.
So, we carry it with it. But I'd like to, if I might, read another poem.
Yes, please.
This actually happened based upon a real true life experience. Notes on a poetry reading at the library. The librarian said, "Show slides with your poetry. If they do not understand poetry, they might enjoy the slides." The librarian said, "To play music with your slides. If they are not interested in your slides, they might enjoy the music." The librarian said, "Do you have any poetry for children?" The librarian said, "At the end of the reading, we will serve cookies, milk, and coffee donated by Starbucks. This usually draws a large crowd."
Vincent, would you say your poems a lot of times revolve around societal commentary?
Well, everything's political. Politics is getting what you want, but politics is you can't escape it. I mean, it's everywhere. So it's just how you deal with it. This really happened to me at the library, the poetry reading. Funny.
Well, it's interesting, because again, with the first one, you're talking about our addiction to our devices. And then with this one, the way you ended it is like, people are drawn to it, not because of the poetry or not because of the library or anything. They're drawn to it because of Starbucks, which again is so poignant because it has a very specific commentary on society and where we are and what brings people in and how, from an outside perspective, when you're an outsider looking in, how asinine some of these things actually are.
Could I read you a poem that's a little on the risque side?
Of course. I love risque. Let's do it.
Okay. Notes from the confession booth. We were alone in a church in the middle of the week. We got in the mood, nowhere to go, and ran into a confession booth. Behind the curtains in the dark, a stained glass window dimly flickered light. Felt like an elevator going up. Rush, lift, thrill. Whoa! The thought of sinners' stories confessed here. Someone on the other side of the sliding forced glass panel could slide them open and witness holy sin.
So okay. So this one is clearly going now towards the church and organized religion. Talk to us about the inspiration behind that one and the connection it has.
Well, I believe in God, but I have kind of disdain for organized religion. So I guess that's what that is.
Vincent, man, listen, we need to have you on the show more often, man. We're so like-minded. Because in a similar fashion, like I've always been in a person who has openly categorized myself as spiritual, not religious. And
that's it. That's me too.
Right. Yeah, like I'm a believer. Right. I love the messages that religion stands for or dictates to a degree. But when you look at organized religion, there are so many conflictions that I have, especially nowadays, which like the big thing right now is, we are so divided as a country, as a community. And I look at a lot of, especially the whole immigration talk right now, and I'm not going to get political with it. I'm just going to say, you look at a lot of people from the Christian community, and they're a lot of times the ones that are wanting to alienate others. And I look at that and I'm like, wait, hold on. Is that not hypocritical? Because doesn't it say in the Bible to love thy neighbor? Doesn't it say in the Bible to look out for those, not because you care for this person or this is a family member or whatever, but to look out for even those that are homeless, those that are poor, that need it the most. But yet we are so quick to close our doors.
Well, I think that religion is a ritualized form of psychic masturbation.
Anyway. That's your next poem right there, Vince. That's your next poem.
You want to hear a nice poem? I was 9 years old, right? And I'm in the yard. My older brother goes, "Look, two flies banging in midair." And I said, "However, do they stay in flight?" Because I didn't know. But here's a pleasant poem. I think this one's a nice day. And this will set the mood, especially for the holidays. If I were a butterfly, as I was sitting on my mama's grave, a caterpillar crawled up my leg. Up, up, it climbed like an accordion. It tickled me, got me to think. I want it to turn into a colorful butterfly. See its fan-shaped wings spread wide, a rainbow of color, graceful as a flower, light as air, sweet as sap. Delightful to see dancing in midair. If I were a butterfly, I would pollinate thousands of flowers to create an urban living space, a mellifluousness of mind, of time and space, a place of peace and flowers, love and light, where butterflies, birds, bees live in harmony, and all the world is forever at peace.
Love the imagery with that. Love the message, the unity that it conveys. People, listen, I could sit here, man. I could talk to Vincent for hours. His book of poetry, listen, as it says there, it is a humorous chapbook for trying times, and that it is. But what I wasn't expecting and what I'm so glad that we went into, not only is this a great book to help uplift your spirits, but it can get philosophical. This book can allow conversations to form and awareness to rise. Man, listen, Vincent, you are onto something special here, brother. And we hope that it continues because you have so much to offer.
One more poem, okay? This because making love to poetry. I like to stare at words until they have real meaning, to gently hold words in my hands, hear words sing, to softly nibble on words, cushion words in a silken down, to find deep comfort in their significance. I want to caress words, toy with them, kiss their intonation, meter, diction. I want to taste their mellifluousness.
And I mean, listen, that brings up another thing. I feel like we don't have the same type of love or care for, for words, for the English language as we once did. And, I think that is a great message in and of itself. Whether you like poetry, people, this book has much more to offer than just the poetic form it's written in. I'm going to say it one last time before I let him go, man. It's Amazon. It's Barnes & Noble. It's VincentJTomeo.com. Head on over there. Pick up copies of The Usefulness of Hippopotamus. This is a book you need to add to your shelf. If you haven't been convinced already, pinch yourself because, man, listen, you're clearly asleep. I don't know. There's something wrong. This was one that I thoroughly enjoyed discussing. While you're at it, check out his other book, My Cemetery Friends. Vincent is a name that needs to be recognized. You know where to go. Pick up your copies today. Vincent, this has been a true pleasure. Thank you once again for being a guest for People of Distinction.
Peace and flowers, love and light. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.